I thought it would be cool if, we read different poems by Andy. We'll post it on YouTube and stuff, and Andy, maybe we'll see him at some point. There are 2 books of poetry, and I do want to mention they are for sale. Andy can't sign them for you, and they're cheap, 2 for $20, or $10 for this one and $15 for the Fabled Dam. But if you buy them together, it's just $20. Okay, just so you know. Raymond, are we ready to get started? Do you have the camera rolling?
Yes, I do.
Put on. I like Raymond Foy. He and I put this event together. I know Andy's been looking forward to it for weeks. It's sort of all he talked about. But let's have a round of applause for Raymond Foy.
Well, thank you very much, and sorry that Andy can't be here, but we're going to celebrate him and his work. This is a book that meant a great deal to him, and I want to thank Zeitgeist Press for bringing this out, and all the great work that Bruce Isaacson did on this book and many, many other books. He's been a great supporter of under-recognized poets. So let's see, what can we say about Andy? I mean, I guess with the passing of Neely Cherkovsky this past week, we're getting kind of right down to the very end of a particular lineage of poets who had direct contact with the Beat generation and took that aesthetic and carried it on and gave it momentum. And Andy is definitely one of those people. And we will have him back here at some point when he's feeling a little bit better. It's not a great day to be going out anyway. So here's a poem called Does One Live On? When you are dead, do you travel distances that can't be measured? Or is it over, gone, nihil? This consciousness never happened? How then would I, know it was over, or if it never was? I guess I'll find out, but I may not, because I won't be. Is the soul eternal? Does it live on? That's a long shot, like an attempted definition of soul satisfying everybody. Soul must exist. We can conceive of it, yet how can we be sure? Considering this, why do I and did I feel my actions consequential? If there is no afterlife, why be moral? Why does it matter if there's no reckoning? Why do I feel guilt, regret? Why do stop-in-time déjà vu sensations teleport me to the early days of this me? Certain aromas, mints, anise, wild roses, bee balm, take my present consciousness and unlock my forming mind, and I am a very young child again. Why? Is it because the Grim Reaper is near?
This goes really well with this.
Go for it. And introduce yourself at the mic, please.
All right. My name is Mikhail Horowitz, long-term friend of Andy's. We go back to the late 60s, early 70s in New Paltz. Celeste, can you hold this for me? Because my hands shake, so I can't. This works very well with the poem that Raymond just read. Cenotaph Town. All we really have is time. Time left to love each other more. Chances are we won't know each other in the afterlife. And there is also a heavily backed chance that there is no afterlife. There is just this and that's it. Though Whitman says, if you deny the afterlife, you're walking to your grave dressed in your shroud, your body a walking tomb. We don't even know if we will know. And if we do know, who will we be when we do or don't? Will we be us? Maybe something not human? Maybe just not? Ever? From Fabled Dam.
Hi again, my name is Danny Schott. Raymond and I and Andy planned this event, and Andy had been looking forward to it since New Year's, you know. And of course, he had all sorts of instructions how he wanted it to go. And one thing he said is, why don't you just read the introduction? That'll be good, because I wrote the introduction to The Fabled Damned. I'm like, Andy, I'm not gonna do that. If people wanna see the introduction, they can buy the book and read the introduction. I will say, to give you a real quick synopsis of the introduction, I talk about how Andy's been a friend of mine for almost 45 years and how much respect I have for him as a poet. And I also talk about being a friend of Andy's is going for a ride that's always an adventure, and this is part of it. Andy also wanted to make sure that Pamela Twining, his partner who passed away in the summer, got her due. And as I said earlier, we have 2 books for sale. One of them is Two Hearts Beat, and it basically is Pamela's poems and Andy's, and it's published by New Generation Beat Publications. And I think it's terrific. So I'm gonna, you know, I don't even like reading after Andy when we do readings, and we've read together dozens of times. And I especially am wary of reading Andy and Pamela's poems because I'm not gonna do them the justice they deserve. But we do what we can, right? The first poem I'm going to read is one of Pamela's, and it's from this book, and it's called You Who Were Kissed. You who were kissed by the maid, Joan of Arc, on the eve of her triumph so long ago, held aloft by your mother in the air wild with bells offered in joy to her shining lips. Were you branded forever with the fire of holiness? Did your starved limbs fill out with the promise of bliss? Touched by the soldier maid, sent straight from heaven, surrounded by angels and God, the electric, did your heart swell triumphant? Was your voice raised in song? You who were brushed by the passage of destiny, kissed by wonder and joy, one bright night in your youth, held for a moment by the hope of a nation, did your soul grow inside you? Did it matter at all? Pamela Twining. I'm doing something stupid. You know, I was a teacher for many years, and I always told my students who are leafing through their books, use the table of contents. Don't just leaf through the book, and I'm doing exactly that. Okay, this poem I have a right to read. I think I'm in it, I forget. But it's about my home state, Jersey, or as Andy calls it, Joyzy. It didn't take long for me to see you were the Lou Gehrig of states, a persevering, dependable powerhouse in the shadow of Ruthian, New York. From the farmers and commuters of the fertile Delaware Gap to the birthplace of baseball, Hoboken. Ancient launching pad of the legendary hobos who took the westbound rails when the economy would sour, Hoboken with that everyday, how can one take it for granted, glorious view of Manhattan. The Pocono Mountains, fecund valleys, its famous Atlantic shore, and buildings from every prosperous wave of 200 years, impressive. Yet it is your everyday people that taught a California boy like me to love you. From all continents, every culture, religion, and complexion, they came to work, maybe a backyard and a little garden. This is where the old world neighborhoods started melting into America. When I first came to you, Hoboken was relatively inexpensive, 1980. I saw an apartment house on fire, read the headlines, the council meetings packed with forced gentrification protest. I gasped when I first saw the sci-fi refineries from the turnpike, the ominous sordid flames and miasmic spume. I surmised that all of Jersey was similar at the time. Little did I know that a legendary poet, Hirsch Silverman, ran a neighborhood candy store in Bayonne, and there was plenty of magnificent nature. A short drive into the geography. From the stately windworm mansions along the shore to the crowded hubbub of Jersey and Union City, the urban toughness of Trenton and Camden, home to hundreds of poets, W.C. Williams, Ginsberg, many Barakas, Whitman, E. Katz, Patti Smith, Springsteen, Danny Schott, Roscoe's, Weiler and Weil, Janine Pommy Vega, yes, Joyce Kilmer, and many more, and their myriad offspring to come. In 1980 at Long Branch, my kids found thousands of white shells, but not shells, plastic sanitary applicators. When I followed Danny's turnpike-towed vehicle to Perth Amboy on the bus, arriving, I thought I'd arrived in the Twilight Zone, like a movie of city life at least 25 years ago. A nowhere as glamorous as Greece. Back in Hoboken, a pizza proprietor, Benny Tadino, picks me out from his customers to tell what his years in federal lockup were like, showed me his scrapbook. At the northern border with the Empire State, I met the 44-year-old chief of the eclectic Ramapo tribe. In my tribe, I am an elder. From their mountain, we could see the big modern hotel where once the vast Ford factory produced thousands of jobs, and the pollution that's sickening and killing the mixed race Ramapo to this day. What tales from decades past will I hear in the pine barrens, the dandelion fields of Vineland? I never minded the strong coffee roasting odors wafting from North Hoboken factories, now condos and offices. Every time I drive by the Bendix Diner, I get a warm feeling. In fact, all the diners and their pickles. The folk a lot like myself in the manifold diners and taverns like Maxwell's, The Beaten Path, Court Tavern, Hungarian Bars of New Brunswick, the Malibu, Greasy Tony's, the Melody, a poetic and rock and roll history juggernaut, the double-cross century, believe it or not. I can be seduced by the same marinara Sinatra loved. I can walk the same ground as Aaron Burr, the Patterson Falls where Allen Ginsberg's verse, disclaimed within the sound of water, rumbling, crashing, roughly singing, capital air, yes, the waterfall singing Ginsberg. I think of the Hindenburg in flames, Reuben Carter, Jack Weiler, Long Shot Magazine. I think of the 98.6% who got their start here, Weehawken, Hohokus, Secaucus, Mahwah, Jersey City, Union City, Toms River, Exit 13, Wayne. I see their faces and hear their voices to this day, this night. You can imagine, I'm fond of that poem. Okay, let's honor Andy by reading his poems. Who'd like to come up next? Somebody's got to. Come on up, Brenda. And as you come up, introduce yourself for YouTube.
Hi, I'm Brenda Coltis, and I'm going to read a poem by Pamela. And I just want to say, I always think of Pamela's beauty and her grace, and how equally matched by her talent they were. A singular light. The poetry was electric, brought the house down. Dual jagged pillars of light crashing from heaven downward, emblazing the night sky. Smell of ozone pricks nostrils, eyes opened in shock. Intimate but inherently of the world, the whole world, not just our small corner. Revolution, revelation. Poems grow, evolve, entwine themselves. Selves, yes, poems have selves. In hearts and minds, eyes, settling, hidden among the fallen leaves, leavings. Of yesterday's apparitions, too busy, too driven, too preoccupied, too resistant, too rebellious, rejected, remiss, mental leaves rotting dendrious, kicked over the pathways, obscuring the gems, rough gems, unpolished. You have to unearth the sparkle. blazing bolts from the heavenly source, God's hand, Goddess hand, the hand of the creator, mother of all, the electric flood of poets, chipping, gently, hacking, greedily, the song, the singer hears each own drops gleaming, sparks charged, powered, making captives of hungry seekers, hiding in the caves and the sunken grottos, wilderness unexplored. Tied to the turning wheel, ageless as stones, the lightning danced among the buildings, gone, beyond gone, in love with the outermost star.
Well, I am sad today, yet absurdly optimistic.
Don't
Is
forget
it
to introduce yourself.
Atticus is my name, middle name. Is it true? Is it true a huge swath of India will be too hot to inhabit, where hundreds of millions now live? Will the land cook? Where will this massive swelter move to? A huge cauldron of people, cultured to live, their unique manner and outlook. Where will they go?
Next. Let's just go right down the line. Sam, go next, and then Phyllis, and let's just go down this line and then down that one.
I don't know what this
Yeah. So,
Name, please.
yeah, I'm Sam Truitt, and onward to Paul, Mothership. Many thanks for having us, and to Andy, your insistence. Yes, this was her. Did you see a woman dart in and out of the soft, warm fog? Was it Patsy Cline? I saw her walking night after midnight. She was singing softly, crazy, I'm crazy. I see through a shaded window a woman pacing back and forth at 5 a.m., still walking the floor, just the way Hank said she would. I see the silhouette of a young man tossing underwear and socks and a notebook into a weathered rucksack. I hear a rambling man, that minor chord, eerie masterpiece, flying backwards to the nomadic days out of Ulaanbaatar region and the great cities of the BCE Asian steppes, and the Dravidian music of the raw melodies taken everywhere that jazzed the Celts, who brought the ancient chords to the Appalachian Mountains, and they spread achingly warbled from the backbone of the Montgomery, Alabama, and sparked the poetry of Towns and Steve Young, Mickey Newbury, and Willie James McMurtry, and Luke Baldwin, and Jimmy Rogers and Earl Fatha Himes, together in the same song, Cisco, Woody, and Huddy. What a modern, large, small world. I feel Otis Redding could be my friend, a comrade, moved to try a little tenderness. Aaron Nealon, on the past, midnight, car radio, crooning an angelic Ave Maria into my chest, deep in my tears. When Buffy St. Marie hits her high vibrating notes, I weep and shiver for the loss of native life and land, the many slaughtered First People. Back in the foggy Nashville summer night, out the cab window, Music City, AM, I hear it again, yes, That is her. I hear Patsy singing Willie crazy for crying crazy, for trying and crazy, for loving you.
Okay, this is a Soem, which is a song poem, okay?
And you're Stacy.
I'm Stacy Fine. I had a cesarean birth. I was moving slow in the kitchen, infant in my carrier. My husband said to me, "You know, you didn't have a car accident, you had a baby." All I did was say, "I ache. I was up all night. I have to do the dishes." And now I will perform my favorite rendition of a song I wrote before I had children, even before I realized I had been raped, and luckily those events were 2 separate occasions. Now you know why the new name for choice is hope, and the new word for hope is change. Let me take a deep breath. Oh, super elastic bubble plastic, gee, you really are fantastic. Apple pie and Elmer's glue. I miss those purple roses. Man, I'm really stuck on you because your love is black and blue. Oh, silver hair, electric chair, choke me by my underwear. Next of kin, get under my skin. You draw me out when you pull me in. Electric guitar, you broke my spine. When will you ever give up the wine? Our love's so true, it's black and blue. It's true, so true. With whips and chains, love's never in vain. I'm all caught up, so what else can I do? I mean bondage, oh help me, yes, I surrender. Sharp as a knife, I became your wife. Now I'm done, bruised for life. Lock the doors, throw away the keys. Deviate, forget it, I'm down on my knees. To God I pray, love so sweet. I'm not gay, or there's no other way. Mother Earth, Father Sky, let's find a way to live or to die. Forever I'll cry, I'm yours. It rains, you rain. It pours, oh, dandelion, dandelion. Shit, you know, I can't wait to die. A love so true, a love so true. It's really, really black and blue.
Phyllis Segura. That's me. I just opened this at random. The Artist's Graveyard in Woodstock. Artists die here in Woodstock. Love, live even, give birth in Woodstock. It wasn't always well-off artists, media pros, and what for a few decades we gave name yuppies. Young, well-off urbans buying second homes to be hotel-like rentals. Halliburton and Giuliani, that's the real names of the owners of $400 to $800 a night rooms called Woodstock Way. You know, some of the great teachers have said the way is not the way. If you lived here a while, you'd know what I mean when I say the Woodstock Way isn't. There is a special cemetery for artists. Janine Palmy Vega, Alan Midget, Peter L. Wilson, and Sweet Briar are there. My beloved, the divine poet and dancer Pamela Twining. It costs money. No discounts? So does the regular graveyard where the great Levin Helm, or what was once, is interred. Get rid of my carcass, cheap as you can. I think burning will it be yet I'd go for a sky burial. Let the big birds go at it. How can I be so bold to have a say? I wouldn't be there, or would I? And if it is ashes, release anywhere, East Oakland, 101st, Twixt, Sunnyside, and Bancroft, would be cool, so would jams back in Dave, in the old country and the Ganges, hi. So go ahead and taste them, hoover them, but no special trips, pilgrimage, any old long hike might do, no pyramids, no tombstone where I am no longer, no barrows, well, if you need the excuse to exercise, as always, do what you see fit. I'm dead serious about this. Me, rather one reads my books than a stone marker.
I'm Christina Strong, and I am kind of sad that I didn't get to see Andy because I've never seen him at all, even so I've heard of him since 1989, the first time I went to his City Lights bookstore, and I know you did just clicked in my head, and then, but I did pick a poem out of here. So, war, no more war. War must be ended or humanity will perish. Not a war, that's not enough. All war. Yes, we can all prosper. Machinery will free the world from ubiquitous drudgery. Robots will do the dirty work. The tendon-damaging repetitive tasks the dangerous must-dos. Education will bring prosperity that the craven power seekers have coveted for the few. To all, the limited prosperity of oligarchs will in retrospect seem like the gaudy uselessness of modern fashion shows. Scores of myriad young Darwins, Bacons, Buddhas, Da Vinci's, Christ, Shakespeare's, many Dylans, Mozarts, Lao Tzus have died on the battlefields unfulfilled. Millions of geniuses never reached their prime. Mothers, daughters, lovers grieving and killed as collateral damage. And yes, in combat, after a generation they were remembered generically. That's all to show for those brief incarnate lives. They once had names, now they have none.
After Paul reads, we're gonna go this way to the front row. Yes.
I'm Paul McMahon. You in the prime of life. You in the prime of life. You in the prime of love with the future. You in the prime of life. You newer generations have studied many generations. And you discovered how to use algorithms, cyberspace, DNA. Those are big. You can know so much. You've globalized knowledge, made data instant, but you also have made many disastrous mistakes. Judging the gen I came from on your relationship and interpretation of morality, rejecting our past without context is one. I am of a different era. In youth, we were much happier than you all, much more in love with expectations, and you would denigrate, cancel, and bury the art and literature of the past. The previous generations generated, and every artist will be looking over his or her shoulder, and all that will be available will be gutless work that never offends anyone.
My name is Chris Funkhauser. I've been pals with Andy for about 40 years, and we've played in a group together, etc., etc. Seen him a couple of times recently, and last time I was there, I was sorry he couldn't be here. He was really looking forward to it, like living at the level of I'm living for this. Last time I was over there, I got a copy of this book, Two Hearts Beat. There's a poem in it dedicated to me, so I'm going to read it. And it's funny, I invited Andy to read over at the Widow Jane Mine a few years ago, and he read this poem and it was dedicated to me, and I just thought, oh, he's giving it reading it to me today because it's, you know, whatever, but it's actually was dedicated to me. Bad Bald Eagle. Raise your fluted glass reflecting neon eyes of the 17-year cicadas, mistaken for unemployed busboys and pearl divers, dancing high among the frozen roses, blue in the silver night, neath the slithering moon. The moon is mooning us. Let's laugh and guffaw, praising the eternal, infinite, self-born. Let the non-ending endure, true to itself without end. Let the let's cavort in linguistic lettuce. See if I care. Let the rubies be inscrutable. Let the forints and kronas, baht, yen, pounds, euros, dollars, rupees be stapled together to make prayer flags and kite tails, glued together to make seed packages so the Lilliputian mutants can hide inside bananas and strawberries as the frackwater corn syrup marbleizes a frown on the belly of virtual youth. We can stop melting icebergs with our kindlings. Life is so much more reality these days. It's on TV every night. It's like butter or margarine. They're both real, am I right? Now we don't have to melt to inhale, to feel across a table of wine. We don't bother to communicate covertly because, heck, they can know what we are doing in our kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms, inside the physical heart, toying with what flesh inside the skull. We're plugged in, and so are the mysterious, ominous, overpowering. They wired to exploit our desires and habits. The omnivorous appetite of cyberspace will devour the language. New rebus-like instructions will make this language a footnote. Probably true. Reality, an unreal dose transforms the mind into a city overwhelmed by festering slag, devotion to gluttonizing the finite. They must make absurd, lethal nonsense moves to maintain credibility in their unswerving faith that their inequities and ridiculous underpinnings of control are justified. The earth is flat. Industry doesn't affect the climate. As they make it appear, it was some god chose them, gave them their cruel and brutal talent that ordained them in the divinely elect bosses of economic world murder. They use the bald eagle as a symbol of their might is always right. Bad bald eagle doesn't care about other birds. Bad bald eagle doesn't care about other bald eagles unless he or she, it is usually he, craves brick and mortar sex. He steals the children, sometimes the body, sometimes the mind, often both. Bad bald eagle has a bird brain, yet rules the world. C.F. Allen Ginsberg. With every move and word demonstrates it does not have to make sense anymore. Meaning was put in a particular place where its denotation was demoted. Bad bald eagle has seen to that. Bad bald eagle is a destroyer and despoiler of language. Bad bald eagle believes, is invested in dominance, is virtue. He wants to be rewarded, to be adored for his exalting the lowest common denominator. Bad bald eagle is very bad. Bad, bad, bald eagle, bad.
Yeah.
I feel Andy here right now because I not expecting this, just opened up the book. I think I'm just gonna choose the shortest thing I can since I'm gonna not have read it. My name is Stefan Said, and I love you, Andy. I haven't seen him in quite some time, but I've spent some very memorable times with him. And hilariously, in a continuation of aquiline fetishes, the times done changed, which, yeah, I think most of us anywhere in the world right now would feel the poignancy I too have elegiac feelings, American. Now, what was once a worldwide Philippine beacon, a citadel of liberty and opportunity, a cage of overcrowded, thrashing doves. Eagle excrement has replaced penguin dust.
Short but sweet. Michaela, you got another
Yeah,
one?
I'll do another short one.
On the theme of eagles.
Yeah. Okay. Morning inside my head, mid-April 2021. There are no Native Americans. The original inhabitants, the Europeans found living here, had never viewed themselves as Americans. Nations with boundaries limited by lines drawn on maps. Wrangled over in courtrooms. No, they were Native people, tribes. They were called so in their own language, and there were at least a couple hundred languages. Casey.
This is one of those where the introduction will be way longer than the poem.
Platsky, tell them who you are.
I'm Michael Platsky. I met Andy about 30 years ago. I curated a weekly open spoken mic in this town for about 12 years at the now defunct Harmony Cafe and the new hoity-toity Pearl Moon, which is also a kind of cool venue. Stop by when they don't charge money and have free music. So when Philip Levine was running the open poetry series, I would stop by, maybe half of the time. And one night I read my thing, and I had heard Andy read maybe 4 or 5 times, and Andy approached me and said, I really liked that piece. I liked better the way you read it. I want to see you here every week. And I was like, whoa, because he was a powerful poet. I moved Andy, I'm a local mover. I moved Andy out of Janine's place in Western Woodstock. I moved Pamela into Andy's place here in Woodstock. They were both my neighbors, my friends, my confidants. I think the world of Andy. I'm so sorry he couldn't make it here today. I have had some of the deepest, most thoughtful, heaviest conversations I've ever had in my life with Andy Clausen. I picked this poem because we often talked about our families, and so this poem is entitled, My Dad Said. My dad said they called them Hoover Towns. My dad said they called them Hoover Towns, ad hoc villages of tents and condemned rubbish and reclaimed rubbish. Families with no homes and little income, miles of homeless tents in Sonoma County. NorCal today, maybe 87 years later, my dad said I'd see Hoover Towns return if I lived long enough. I was told in school measures had been set up so a Great Depression would never happen again. I find it sordidly sad, no satisfaction, saying Dad was right.
Anybody else with a poem?
Do another one, Danny.
Another? I haven't thought about doing another. This time I'll use the table of contents. Let me just read the first poem in the fable Damned. The ardor of. Ardor means like love, right? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, if it's like ardor, right? Ardor. 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 It means what?
Work.
Oh, shit. Okay, so I'm going to read a poem I misunderstood. Even when I wrote the introduction. The ardor.
It means passion. Ardor means passion.
Passion or work? Wait, now I'm not sure. Okay, the ardor of. The ardor of Kerouac for America, the dream. The eloquence, heartbeat of Euripides, seeking end to useless war, yet the martial skills of Spartacus, the purity of Mary Wollstonecraft's flashed thought, no shame in female enjoyment of sexual love, the formidable, divine, average energy and naked democracy zeal of Whitman, the rhetorical power of W.J.B. sketching a silver Zion, jazzing young Rachel Lindsay, the shout on his lips, Zarathustra Mayakovsky proclaiming and extolling at the top of his voice, loud enough for the art commissar and even Uncle Joe to hear artistic freedom. The inspiration of Crazy Horse speaking to the United Tribe prior to Little Bighorn, the courage of Black Buffalo Woman riding with him, the ontological mystic pull of Blake informing Paine he must leave England or be hanged. Tom made it out in the nick of time. The resolute, fierce defiance of Boadicea resisting the empire of Rome, the intrepid courage of Aspasia and Sappho, the revolution by any means Malcolm, the celestial smile of Odetta, the intense desire of Corso and Cassidy, Nina Simone, Dolphy and Bird, the common sense determination of Allen Ginsberg. That's what I need. I am to remind 8 billion souls no one gets out alive. We are here for the purpose to seek the spirit of help, of definite love, of continued evolution. All this proliferation of people spawned with the rapidity of techno is happening faster than predicted. As governments deny the need for action due to the bottom line trumping the impending fate of humanity on our tragedy-infected planet, we are sick and we are desolate of spirit, hoodwinked and tethered to the golden calf. We must work to change everything of and in this horrid, addle-pated direction we are immersed in. We need a change, and the only escape is to confront and meet it with a subtle and tremendous force infusion for purposes of spiritualization, or we are to be what Whitman prophesies to be equivalent in its real world to that of the fabled damned. Thank you, everybody. Raymond, will you come up for a minute and just Woodstock person?
Okay, well, I know Andy's going to watch this video many times, and he's going to enjoy and appreciate the fact that you all turned out. So let's continue to honor him by reading him. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Paul, for making the mothership available. And let me remind you, we have books for sale. Andy can't sign them, but we can sell them.
There also are some nice snacks here, and Adam has put some beers out, and there's an art show up on the other side of this building that you're welcome to visit in the apartment where Andy and Pamela used to live.
Yeah.